Hey Star Trek fans, welcome back to the channel and another week in Trek. And to all of my friends in Canada, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. We have some interesting Star Trek news stories this week, as well as a few new releases you might be interested in. So let's get right into this week's news.
You're the captain of the most important space station in the entire Federation. You're news.
We are now less than 2 weeks away from the premiere of Lower Deck's 5th season on Paramount+, and we were recently treated to a full trailer. If you haven't watched it, be sure to check it out. I have a link in the video description. The trailer features the usual irreverent tone and a ton of great callbacks and Easter eggs, all things we're used to with Lower Decks. And of course, there's the revelation of the latest legacy character to make an appearance. Harry Kim, with Lower Decks after 5 years, finally making the begged-for joke about Kim's rank. You might remember the synopsis of Season 5 that was revealed a while back, talking about how the Cerritos' mission this season involves closing subspace rifts that are appearing all across the Alpha Quadrant and apparently wreaking havoc. I'm betting this is related to the apparent multiversal shenanigans that we see with the multiple Harry's Kim in the trailer. Definitely a lot to pick apart in this trailer, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it all play out when the final season of Lower Decks begins its run on Thursday, October 24th. The first 2 episodes will be available that day on Paramount+, and we of course will be going into full coverage mode here on Kertrats Productions. Stay tuned. Nacelle, the company behind a number of action figure lines as well as television and documentary productions such as The Center Seat, 55 Years of Trek, and The Toys That Made Us, has just finalized a deal with Paramount to create a new line of Star Trek action figures. According to their press release, Nacelle will be producing 1/12 scale action figures, apparently with a focus on characters never before available, and characters in outfits never before seen in action figure form. Their deal is reportedly for the era from the original series through to Star Trek Enterprise, including the films, so we can expect to see a lot of legacy characters represented in these releases. This news is definitely exciting to Star Trek fans who are also collectors of action figures, as the market recently has seen a number of setbacks, with Playmate's new Star Trek figure line fizzling out, and Super 7's line going nowhere after just a few releases. We don't have word yet on what might be included in the first wave from Nacelle, but the company is also reportedly soliciting ideas from fans on what they would like to see in future waves. We'll definitely be keeping a close eye on future announcements from Nacelle on their plans for new Star Trek action figures. As always, watch this space. As most of you of course know, the 2024 US presidential election looms, with voting day on November 5th approaching at warp speed. Trek the Vote for Fair Elections is a nonpartisan pro-democracy grassroots movement created by Star Trek fans to get the vote out ahead of Election Day. A number of Star Trek stars are taking part, including John Billingsley, Chase Masterson, Robert Duncan McNeil, Robert Picardo, and Tim Russ. According to TrekMovie.com, the goal of the group is, quote, to work with partner organizations to support voting rights, improve election transparency, and help elections administrators meet their staffing needs. I have a link in the video description to their website where you can find all of their partner organizations, as well as many ways to help out to ensure a free and fair election, including voter outreach, morale boosting, where's Neelix when you need him, and even signing up for advanced training to help in other ways. Check out the site and help them out if it's in your power to do so. And finally, this week sees the much-anticipated 2024 New York Comic Con, featuring a Hall H panel for Star Trek, which will reportedly cover the upcoming Star Trek Section 31 streaming movie, as well as Season 5 of Lower Decks, which starts just 4 days after the end of the convention. I'll be keeping my ear to the ground for any breaking news, trailers, and other surprises from the event to bring you in the next Week in Trek video.
Sometimes I think you North Americans read nothing but comic books and those ridiculous science fiction novels.
We have 2 new book and comic releases this week, as well as a new Star Trek coin from the New Zealand Mint. First up on Tuesday, October 15th is Star Trek Glass and Bone, the 3rd volume collecting the current ongoing Star Trek flagship comic series from IDW. Here's the synopsis. Benjamin Sisko is called out of retirement to defeat the Zenkethi coalition. Captain Benjamin Sisko's quest to defeat the killer of the gods is at an end, and the prophets beckon him home to the Celestial Temple. He's earned his rest, but he no longer wants to retire into godhood. So when Starfleet requests his help to stop a familiar foe, the Zenkethi coalition, from launching their fleet across the Alpha Quadrant, Sisko and the Theseus crew set out to once again save the galaxy. They team up with Operative Kingsnake, aka Harry Kim, but the Zenkethi leader has surprising allies of his own, the Romulans. There's a reason this species of spiritually rich lizard birds has twice defeated Starfleet in battle. They're xenophobic, ruthless, and innovative, and confronting them on their home turf, a planet thought to be an organism itself, is a death sentence. In this follow-up to Star Trek Volume 1 Godshock and Volume 2 The Red Path, Volume 3 collects Star Trek issues number 13 to 18 by writers Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, with art by Marcus Toe. And if you're reading the Star Trek comics issue by issue, then you'll want to pick up Star Trek number 25, out on Wednesday, October 16th. Issue 25 kicks off a brand new story arc by Kelly and Lansing. Here's the synopsis. New arc starts here. The android Lore has done the unthinkable. He has detonated the orb of destruction, unmaking the universe. After an extragalactic tumble on the ensuing shockwave, the Theseus sinks into fluidic space. There, the crew melds in and out of a manifold of realities. Benjamin Sisko is against a god-killer once again, but this time it's up to him alone to save reality itself. Links are below if you want to pick up either of these releases from Amazon. And finally, on Friday, October 18th, the New Zealand Mint, under its recently rebranded collectible arm called Agoro, releases its latest Star Trek collectible coin. Made of 1 ounce of 99.9% fine silver, this coin continues their Star Trek Vehicles series with a classic, the Klingon Bird of Prey, which made its debut in 1984's Star Trek III The Search for Spock, a film which celebrates its 40th anniversary this year. The Mint is releasing only 2,000 of these coins, and each coin comes with a certificate of authenticity listing its unique number out of that 2,000. Link to Agoro's website featuring the coin is, of course, in the video description. And that's it for another week in Trek. Thanks again for joining me, and thanks as always to the Patreon supporters. Join me again here next week, where I'm sure I'll be bringing you a ton of new and interesting information from the New York Comic Con as we gear up for the 5th season of Star Trek Lower Decks. I've been Dan Gunther. Take care of each other and yourselves, and as always, live long and prosper.